As a global business services organization, you want consistency and standardization of service delivery across the enterprise. This is essential for driving efficiencies, cost savings, and better employee experiences. Yet, how do you link these systems, technologies, and departments together? Today, organizations are rapidly transforming service delivery from a siloed operating model to a connected global business services model with ServiceNow. On a single, configurable platform, ServiceNow helps establish a foundation to standardize service delivery across the enterprise with digital workflows. With ServiceNow, multifunctional teams work together efficiently across departments. Global process owners have an end-to-end view of delivery and quality of their services, and employees have one place to go to get help. ServiceNow allows global business services organizations to unlock productivity for service teams by connecting processes end-to-end with automation and a system of action. At the same time, the platform easily integrates with your other strategic business platforms and multiplies the value of your existing investments. Plus, with shared visibility over service cases, your organization can analyze process efficiency trends while meeting the delivery expectations of the different departments. And with low-code development, you can bring new services to market in half the time, gaining agility and ease of continuous improvement. ServiceNow delivers digital workflows that connect people, functions, and systems to create unparalleled transformational outcomes across your entire global business services organization. Learn more at servicenow.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We now have a very interesting session. And first up, I'd like to introduce and welcome Gopinath Pullaihgari, Director and Head Human Resources, Verizon, India, who will be in conversation with Anirvan Mukherjee, Global Head Human Resources Business Partner, Microland Limited. And the subject of the conversation is enhancing collaboration and productivity within a remote workforce. Gopinath, over to you.
Hey, Ivan, thank you so much. Good afternoon to all participants. Really excited to be on this program. And also a big shout out to our partners here, Economic Times, for putting up this. Welcome aboard, Anirvan. It's I take this opportunity to interact with you. Let me start off by asking you, right? How has the pandemic worked out? How's the whole thing on collaboration helped? So if you can throw some insights and lights onto that, it'll really help our participants.
Hey, thank you, Gopi, and as always, a pleasure to connect with you and interact with you. And thank you to our friends in the Economic Times and Ivan for setting up this dialogue. Always an opportunity to learn as much as to share, right? And I think Gopi, when I look at the whole pandemic, I think we can look at it as a study of different parts, right? So when it was wave one, it was about panic. It was unprecedented. Uh, there were people falling ill. There was no vaccine. There was a fear of livelihood as well as lives. At least in the IT services sector, which I belong to, there was a definite slowing down of business initially, right? So there were a bunch of things starting with business continuity planning and an organization where work from home would be more the exception rather than the rule, suddenly operating 99% work from home. So all of that had to happen. I think wave two was really about taking care of our employees, and it was all about people first, as we say in Microland, and making sure, like a family, we go above and beyond to take care, beyond policy, beyond maybe what the medical benefits cover, beyond what is in the book, and just focus on being together and surviving together, even if we are physically apart, right? And that was really what wave two was to some extent. We had a very sharp wave three, which went up and down, and hopefully that is indicating that we are moving to an endemic, right, where both the coronavirus and us are learning to live with each other. So I think the strategies are all different, but your key question is one on collaboration and productivity. So I would say that, amazingly enough, the industry has already proven, and I think Microland would be one of the leading lights in that, in demonstrating to our clients and demonstrating through multiple work metrics, business metrics, that productivity has actually gone up. People have been actually working even harder. Maybe some of the time that has been eliminated, in terms of commuting from home, or the flexibility people have got to log in their favorite times, have all helped. So productivity fears that were there, I don't think that is there, even though, of course, the odd isolated case of somebody goofing up does come through, and you take those actions there and then. But productivity is a non-issue. In fact, it has gone up. But I think as an HR practitioner, where my concern and focus would be around, I would say, around how much of synergy in teams we are building. Do people know each other as people, or do people know each other for the work transactions? Okay. And if you know each other only from a work transaction perspective and not as whole people, not as friends, not as human beings with a story of our own, then, is the connectedness there to that extent? And I think those would be, some of the challenges, together with something else that's come through, which is around, how do you culturally assimilate people, including people who have actually not even seen the office. Now that we are coming towards the end of a pandemic, we are thinking in terms of a social hub, office as a social hub, and those kind of things. But certainly, how do you connect more with the organization and with your teammates? That's been a challenge, and I'm sure there are lots of different practices that has come up. And the other piece is about stress. People are taking a lot more onto themselves, right? They are doing a lot of things. They have lots of responsibilities, and families may not necessarily always appreciate all the pattern and rhythm of an office life, and yet suddenly the office has invaded the family space, for which we are eternally grateful to the Microlander families for supporting us and accommodating us. But again, how do you manage it? And if there are different physical and mental stress that gets built up on an employee, man is a social animal, then how does that work? So I think this whole piece around connectedness to team members and the organization, as well as stress and physical and emotional well-being, I think these are a couple of things that we are getting focused on, Gopi.
Fantastic, Anirvan. I think very insightful.
And I would love to know, what are some of the social and technical interventions you are doing in Verizon, and that we can maybe learn from. It'll be lovely to know about it.
Yeah, so I think I agree with most of what you said, Anirvan. When I look back, right, during the peak of the pandemic is when we went 5G. We went the first 5G, right? When I say 5G, we were the first on 5G, 4G, and you name it, 4G LTE. But we could do that remotely. So what does that really mean? That means productivity did not go away, right? It was only productivity was enhanced. So we had a set of challenges when the pandemic hit us, right? When the pandemic hit us, and then we broke that down into things like, you said man is a social animal, right? We were used to face-to-face meetings. We were used to real-time collaboration within the teams, right? People would walk into the corridor, sit in a room, sit down and have those conversations. Not only real-time collaboration, but also cross-functional collaborations. For example, you and me will agree, being in the HR team, we work very closely with the business. We work closely with the legal folks, real estate folks, GRE folks, sourcing teams. All of that was a challenge. Second is when you look at the business, major project meetings, right? You could have all of them under a roof and have that major project meeting. Most importantly, for a technology company like us, ideation, right? In the peak of the pandemic, we are talking about 5G, and 5G has no set of rules in the past, right? It's not been there. Ideation and brainstorming, how are we going to take it to this? What are the challenges that are coming up? How do you really, I think these were some of the challenges that we had. At the end of it, on the job learning as well, when you are in the office, you meet a set of people, which you already spoke about, right? You have a mentor at work, you look up to a colleague, you look up to a friend, hey, this is not working. Can you come over, just lean your shoulder, look up. So I think all of that was lost. And last but not the least, a critical cultural piece, which we believe is the team building. So when we looked at, I think three things the technology is going to bring to us. One is collaboration. It has to be strong in a way where we looked at Slack, we looked at our own products like Blue Jeans. We went out and brought a product at the right time to say, I think all of us need to have video and audio, and Slack as well. So critically important tools. So one is that enabled collaboration. Second most important thing when you are in a technology business and you're in a telecom business, predictability, right? You need to be 99.999 is not acceptable, right? Because if you have to make a call and that's when your network drops, you're as good as, it doesn't matter if you've done this call 100 times before. So I think that was the second thing that we oriented ourselves towards. Last but not the least was productivity. And that was the easiest piece to do, right? So what did it really offer? When we thought about it, what we really wanted to do was flexibility. We wanted to look at new and innovative ways, right? Immersive learning, immersive ways to collaborate, where people could write out of the boards and the team could see it on their screens, right? So those were some of the things. And also it gave, while the pandemic also did a lot, it also opened up new doors, I would say. We were able to attract talent right across. Otherwise, we were confined to our geographies. Suddenly, the entire talent landscape opened up, right? And also, it gave us flexibility to our employees. It became effective for our employees, increased in resiliency as well. So we looked at it as two parts to it. One is the employee and one is the people leader, right? All of a sudden, we said, yeah, we'll have to take a call on this, right? From an individual perspective, how do you look at it? How does collaboration enhance your individual performance, right? How does it become an impediment for you to communicate? And how do you handle distributed meetings? So we put in programs for all of this remotely. Expected all our 7,000 odd employees to go ahead and do that, because that was going to be, this pandemic permanently changed the way that we worked, right? Also in the future, we were all going to be hybrid. So we thought it is right investments. I think from a leadership perspective, I think key things that we wanted to tell our leaders, unlearn to learn, right? How are you going to communicate, right? How are you going to leverage communication tools? Because all of a sudden, you went away from under a roof to a distributed team, right? Building strong connections, and how is technology going to be a strong alibi for doing all of that? And leading people itself meant a very different way, right? You could stand with the team, be around the team, but here managing teams and distributed meeting. So all of this were phenomenal things. But one last thing I thought technology also enabled us was on the CSR part. We never knew we could do CSR, do virtual walks, leverage technology, just not for ourselves, but for social causes as well, where we were able to teach a lot of kids and also contribute to the economy. So I think technology, collaboration, enablement was fantastic.
That's fantastic, Gopi, and I think we are down to our probably last minute. So let me, so lots of things on technology that you did, and if I were to summarize, you looked at the different processes, and you also looked at different talent segments and figured out, how to connect to them and how to get them together for collaboration and for ideating, etc. I think, from a Microland perspective, there are just two things I wanted to share back with our audience. One is, just like you, we are also a very technology company where predictability, reliability is very important. And we, of course, took care of, those things using all kinds of technologies. We actually went and helped our clients, including governments in Europe and the US, how they would manage their pandemic, because they relied on our expertise, something that we called winning workplaces. But we had technology like special apps where people could log in and put in some data, involving where they were and certain other markers, and that app could actually go to the CoWIN app of the government of India and pull the vaccination status out. And that was important for creating a safe and secure workplace for people who had to come to office for some time for whatever reason, right? So there was a lot of technology enablement, but at the heart, people are people. And, I just wanted to share these thoughts of our founder, chairman, and one of the doyens of the Indian IT industry, Predictability, where essentially he said that, have we talked to our people? Is each and every person in the organization talked to and listened to and heard, what is it that they want? What is it that they need? And are we taking actions to help them in a much more customized, personalized way? And that involves just making sure that we are investing in connecting to each and every individual, listening to them. Each person's situation in life is very different, and how do we cater our whole processes and engagement practices around them so that they can be at their best. So I think that's what really we have focused on quite a bit. And so it's about technology, but finally it's also about people that helps us. And I think with that, thanks, Gopi, and would like to hand it back to Ivan.
Thank you so much. I know you just had 15 minutes, gentlemen, but I think you shared some wonderful insights in terms of enhancing collaboration and productivity within a remote workforce. I'm sure our audience has some important takeaways. Thank you, Anirvan. Thank you, Gopinath. And we wish you and your respective organizations the very best going forward.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ivan. Thank you all.
You're most welcome. Well, do stay tuned in, ladies and gentlemen. If you want, you can go and grab a bite. You can refill your coffee and tea mugs, whatever, get a juice. We have a 40-minute panel discussion coming up next. So that's the beauty of these virtual summits. We don't have to have a break, which is one single one and everyone running into the dining hall. So I'll see you on the other side in a couple of minutes with the panel discussion.